Hi, I'm Paul Perdue, and I'm the infrastructure nerd.
And I'm Mary Jo Boyd, and I'm a legal technologist.
And today we're going to talk about Tabs3 Connect. The number one thing that attorneys want when they're outside the office is the ability to enter and log their time. And the folks at SGI came up with Tabs3 Connect as the answer to that question.
And it doesn't only just allow them to enter time, it also gives them access to their PracticeMaster calendar, their clients, their contacts, and even their documents.
Yep, unlike the name Tabs3 Connect, it's actually 6 functions from PracticeMaster that SGI has taken and put into the Platinum and Platinum SQL versions and put out there in what we commonly refer to as the cloud.
Can you show us how that works, Paul?
I sure can. Tabs3 Connect is actually 6 functions that you would normally find in PracticeMaster. It's a little odd, but the Tabs3 brand is the one that's most recognizable, so they call it Tabs3 Connect. And you are able to enter fees and costs, so those are Tabs3 related things, but those are also things that show up in PracticeMaster, so that's how that works. They're actually PracticeMaster functions. So if we look at the Matter Manager in PracticeMaster and then log into Tabs3 Connect, which we're about to do, you'll see the same sort of information for Purdue Law offices, but it'll be organized just slightly differently, and you'll have access to it from outside your office. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to tabs3connect.com. This is where you authenticate, and by authenticate you put in your email address and a secure password. Keep in mind, if you're using a password of Paul or password or 123, that's not going to cut it for Tabs3 Connect. It is required that you have a very secure password with numbers and letters. I believe upper and lower case is required. I'm pretty sure that special characters are required. You get the picture though. It's got to be a secure password. Now, once you're authenticated, the only other thing that this tabs3connect.com site does is route information back and forth. And that's very important to understand because you are not actually putting your data out in the cloud. You're not putting your clients and your matters and your contacts and your fee information out in the cloud. You are merely providing access to very securely authenticated users through a very secure mode of connecting. You're providing the access to your server to get that information. So nothing's out in the cloud, and the only way somebody can get into your server is through the secure authentication that's provided through tabs3connect.com. Once here, we'll see these 6 functions. We also have the ability to see your active alarms. The eNote functionality from within PracticeMaster is here. And we have a help section where you can get help about how to use Tabs3 Connect. We have a logout link, which we recommend. You don't want to leave your iPad sitting on your table at Starbucks and go to the bathroom and have somebody steal your iPad and then have access to your information because you left it logged in. So we recommend logging out when you're not using Tabs3 Connect. And then, of course, there's these 6 functions. Now, the Matter Manager, for instance, we're looking at Purdue Law, and we see that this Purdue Law is identical to this Purdue Law. It looks a little different, but it is the Matter Manager, just as you would see it on your desktop version, only here it's something that's available to you outside the office. Same sort of functionality, same sort of data, just a slightly different orientation that's designed to work on a touch-sensitive device like a phone or an iPad or a tablet. The way that you get to this information is a little bit different as well. Instead of the drop down that you have up here for choosing all activity or the billing summary, you instead have little buttons over here because that's more in tune with a touch-sensitive device. Now we also in Tabs3 Connect have access to, and you'll notice there's these 6 buttons up here just like there were on the main screen, so you don't have to go back to the main screen. But you also have access to your calendar, your contacts, costs, clients, and fees. Now, clients, I think, is kind of a non-issue because you have access to all that information and more through the Matter Manager. You can pull up your client or your matter here and see way more than you can see if you pull up that same client or matter here. Costs, I think, is kind of a non-issue too. We do have a couple people that use this, but who really needs to enter costs from the road? It's fees that people are mainly concerned with, so we'll focus on that. And then your calendar and your contacts. Now, one thing about your calendar and your contacts, people say, well, I've got my Outlook syncing to my PracticeMaster, and therefore my calendar and my contacts are going through to my phone. But they're yours. And the difference here is that when I'm in Tabs3 Connect looking at the calendar, I can see everybody's calendar, not just mine. So that's kind of cool. And when I'm in the contacts section, and I could look just at Mary Jo's calendar and get the same sort of access to somebody else's calendar. And when I'm in the contacts section, it defaults to showing me just my contacts, but if I go to all, bam, there they are. Now, let's get back to the calendar for a minute. You have the same sorts of views that you're used to, and we're going to look at my calendar again. Oops. And one thing you don't have is where it's going to fill out the field for you, as it does in PracticeMaster. You do have to type the whole username or select from the list by using the drop-down. We have the ability to view month or week or day, and we have the ability to choose what we're looking at by scrolling through, or by going straight back to today, or by choosing the calendar button, choosing which day you want to look at. Okay. Now, we also have the ability to add or edit. So if I wanted to change this entry, all I have to do is click it and choose edit. Or if I wanted to add a new entry to that day, all I have to do is hit new. So same functionality, slightly different orientation. If we look at contacts, and we'll go to all, we'll search for Purdue. It does take it just a little bit longer to come back with that list of Purdue's, but here's Purdue Law Offices, and when I click them, there they are. One thing that's really nice is that when we click on an address, it loads whatever that device's standard mapping application is and takes you right to that particular address. And if we click on a phone number or an email address, let's go back to where we have, let's see if we can find Paul Purdue. If we click on an email address, it's going to automatically load that email using your iPad or iPhone, or in my instance, computer's email program. And if we click on a web address, it's going to load up the web address. And if you're on a phone and you click on a phone number, it's going to offer to dial the phone right there. So some neat functionality that's specific to Tabs3 Connect, and that extends that functionality beyond that of which you are used to in the desktop version. And last but not least, certainly fee entry. We were in Purdue Law Offices in the Matter Manager. It assumes that's who we're going to enter a fee for, but we can change that, of course. It assumes today's date because you're in Tabs3 Connect and you're entering fees as you're doing them. It assumes the number one transaction code, but you can change it. And if you happen to be working on a task-based billing client, you're going to see the phase and activity codes as opposed to the T code. Hours worked, I'm going to put in 0.2. I'm going to put in telephone call to David, and I'm going to save it. And as soon as that next screen comes up, you can rest assured that if you were to go to the fee section of Purdue Law Offices, you would find a fee entry for that one that I just entered. Because the minute we do something in Tabs3 Connect, it is in our regular system. Now that's something that is a driving force behind what people are looking for Tabs3 Connect to do. The primary reason people get it is the access to the fee entry. Although we have a lot of people looking at matters here. One thing that's kind of neat that I can't quite show you here, but I'll tell you that in version 17, they've enhanced their document management. And one of the things that includes is that now your Tabs3 Connect is going to give you, if configured right, access to your documents on the road without you having to download them, without you having to pull them off somewhere. Or if you had a World Docs or an iManage, sometimes you have to buy extra stuff just to make that sort of outside the office accessibility happen. Here it's a given. So that's it. That's Tabs3 Connect in a nutshell. So that, in a nutshell, is Tabs3 Connect.
And that's just one more way that you can worry less
and practice more.